2016 is trending again, and I've been thinking a lot about that era. If you haven't already seen it, my last video was a Q&A where I answered some of your questions, including one about what influenced my personal makeup style. Korean makeup and the Korean makeup style have been huge influences on my personal style, especially those Ulzzang Instagrammers. To pay homage to that era and to do a little throwback, today I'm going to be doing half of my face in that 2016 style and the other half in the modern 2026 Korean makeup style. I just did my base real quick the same way on both sides, and I put in some contacts that I thought would work for both looks. We're just using some eye enlarging black contacts since they're very classic and very timeless. In 2016, I was extremely obsessed with the brand 3CE. I thought that they had the most gorgeous models, so I was always buying their makeup. It only seems right for me to use their products in the 2016 look. I'm gonna start by laying down some blush with this heart-shaped cheek balm. This is a very bright color. Bright colors were all the rage back then. It's actually crazy to me how much makeup has changed in the last 10 years. When you're living in that moment, you don't feel like it's going to ever be outdated. I'm just concealing my lips a little bit because back then thin lips were actually in trend, which is kind of funny because now everyone is getting lip filler to make their lips thicker. Actually, when I was growing up, I would conceal my lips because I was actually ashamed of how big my lips were. And that's why it's important not to fall into trends, because things change all the time and it's better to just love yourself. And of course, in 2016, you had to do a matte lip. I'm going to try to do that gradient style that was really popular back then by using a slightly darker and more saturated color on the inner part of my lip. I can already tell that this is going to dry out my lips. For the sake of this video, we're gonna have to stick with the matte finish. I feel like eyeshadow back then wasn't really the focus point of makeup, so we're going to just do a little nudie base. In 2016, I thought that makeup was the hardest thing to do in the world, but looking back on it now, it's actually crazy how much simpler 2016 makeup is to do. There's a lot fewer elements that go into it. Not everyone drew their aegyosal back then, but we're going to just do a little bit of an aegyosal with this powder shade. And then darken the outer bottom triangle of my lash line. And of course do a puppy style downturned eyeliner, which I'm just going to stamp out with my powder first. And I'm going to kind of connect the top and bottom line together. And now I'm just going to make the eyeliner darker with a gel pencil. And also just run it along my waterline a bit. And I'm going to take a pinky tone and just add that to my inner corner. That's not too dark, but also still slightly emphasized. And now I'm gonna curl my lashes and do a layer of mascara. In terms of eyelashes, back in 2016, idol lash with like the individual little spikes wasn't popular yet. But honestly, I don't even think that people wore false lashes all the time at that point yet. It wasn't really seen as like a requirement for a makeup look. These days, almost any makeup look requires false lashes if you want your eyelashes to be able to show up on camera. And that's also what I kind of mean about how makeup has evolved to become way more complicated and more time consuming. It's a good and a bad thing. I think that makeup now really has the power to enhance your features. I'm just going to glue some of these lashes onto the left eye. Now for a very important step to 2016 Ulzzang makeup, you must emphasize the aegyosal with something sparkly. I'm going to start with this frottage pencil, which is a crayon texture, and just go all over my aegyosal. And then to create more of a sparkling effect, I'm going to add this liquid glitter on top. This kind of stuff was super popular back then. Straight eyebrows were already trending, but they were darker and more blocky, kind of similar to the Western style eyebrows in comparison to nowadays the bleached and light colored eyebrow. I'm taking a lighter color for the front of my eyebrows and a darker color for the tail end to create a sort of gradient effect. Now I'm going to do my contour. I feel like nose contour hasn't really changed so much, so I'm just going to do the same thing on both sides to keep it simple. I actually have been using this Too Cool for School contour powder since 2016. I had the older version back then, which I think you could see in some of my older videos, but I recently replaced it finally with this updated one with a new packaging, since I'm pretty sure the old one was expired, but I don't really check expiration dates on my makeup, and even if I knew something was expired, I'd probably just ignore it until it became a problem. Now I'm going to set the left side of my face with a pressed powder, and I'm going to go in heavy-handed because matte finishes were definitely all the rage at that point. I mean, even today, I feel like the super glowy, glassy finish is starting to fall out of trend, which is good news for me because I cannot really pull off that glazed donut look. In my opinion, it just makes me look greasy. And that's kind of it for the 2016 side. My blush low-key disappeared, but I don't think that matters because I don't think blushes were on trend. Even in the West at that time too, blushes weren't trendy. It was all about bronzer and stuff, so I think we'll just leave that as is. Now on to the 2026 side. My lips are crying from dryness, so I'm going to at least hydrate the right side of my face by doing my lip combo first. These days, it's all about overlining your lips and creating that nice pillowy look. I'm going to try a kind of desaturated color since I feel like that's more trendy now. And for the blush on this side, I'm going to use a liquid blush. And I'm going to bring it all the way to my nose. I do think it's nice that makeup has evolved in a way such that there are a lot of really great resources out there to teach you where your blush placement or your contour should go to best flatter your face shape. And I'm really curious to see how makeup will continue to evolve in the future. I'm just going to lightly set the right side of my face now that I'm done with my liquid products. If you set your face with a powder after liquids and creams, it helps keep them from moving around or budging while you continue to layer more powder products on top. Now that everything's nice and set, I'm going to go and start with my eye look. I'm going to use the same palette just so that it's more comparable across both sides. I'm going to lay base color on my lid and use the same shade on my lower eyelid. I'm going to use this pencil to do my outer corner. In today's makeup, I think that emphasizing the outer corner is very on trend. And I'll add the rose tone on my inner corner just like on the left side. And again, I'm going to stamp this dark brown color across my lash line. And instead of doing a super downturn liner, I'm just going to do a straighter one. On my right side, I'm going to use a liquid liner just so I can get a little bit more precision, but gel liner is definitely still trendy. And now I'm going to curl my eyelashes again and do my mascara. I'm going to try to apply these individual lashes today. I've tried these before, they're definitely really high skill level, so I honestly don't really recommend these to beginners. Under eyelash makeup didn't really become popular until the last few years. While we wait for my eyelash curler to heat up, I'm actually going to draw on my aegyosal on the right eye. And I'm making it a little bit more narrow than the 2016 style. Back then, people really liked the super dolly and round eyes. Nowadays, I think people try to elongate their eyes more horizontally, so we can achieve that effect with a thinner and longer aegyosal. I don't know if this is an Asian thing, but when I wake up in the morning, my bottom eyelashes are always stabbing me in my eye because they just go straight up. Thank God for heated eyelash curlers because nothing else would be able to get my stick straight eyelashes to stay curled. For the bottom eyelashes, I'm going to use a brown mascara so that it doesn't become too dark. I love that even though modern Korean style makeup is actually quite heavy in the sense that you use a lot of makeup, it still looks really light and natural because of their choices in color and how they apply their makeup. I haven't tried it myself yet, but these days, even using a darker color on your aegyosal is quite popular. But I've seen it look really good on celebrities like Giselle, but I don't have the right crayon for that. I might pick it up when I go to Korea this year, so if I do get it, I'll try it out for you guys. I think I forgot to contour my face on this side, so let me just do that real quick. Let me just add a little nose highlight. And finally, I'm going to add a little bit more blush here to amp up the color. And I'm going to use this very glossy blush. I still want some of that dewiness that is trendy at the moment. That is the finished look for the 2026 style Korean makeup. Let me just clean up my hair real quick and I will show you the final results. I feel kind of silly right now having two completely different makeup looks on my face. I tried my best with each one to make them look good. I hate it when people make comparison videos and purposefully make the older style of makeup look really bad, because honestly, there is nothing wrong with the 2016 makeup and it is totally still wearable today if this is the style that you like. Personally though, I do love the 2026 style since I really like a glossy lip and a heavier blush, as well as the colors just being a little bit more on the softer and muted side. I'm curious to hear which style you think looks better, so let me know in the comments if you prefer the 2016 style Korean makeup or the 2026 style. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next Tuesday.